Thank you so much for the very kind introduction. Binabati ko po kayong lahat ng isang mapagpalang araw. Kahit na tayo po ay nasa gitna pa din ng pandemya, unti-unti na nating nararamdaman ang simoy ng Pasko. Sabi nga po ng Apo Hiking Society, kahit anong mangyari, tuloy-tuloy pa din ang Pasko. Di po ba? Ako po si Atty Dante Bravo, President of PNIA, and on behalf of my colleagues in the association, we are grateful for the opportunity to be in this forum. Today, I have the distinct honor to present to you the Philippine Nickel Industry Association's 2020 Sustainable Development Goals Report, entitled Global Goals, Local Actions, Sustainability as Our Way of Life. PNIA's 2020 SDG report proves our commitment to harmonize with stakeholders to ensure that our social development, environment protection, and corporate responsibility programs will result to sustainable communities beyond the end of mine life. This is only possible if we, in partnership with all of you, our stakeholders, attend to the furthest behind first and aim to eliminate all forms and dimensions of poverty as enshrined in the vision and directions of the SDGs. We have learned a lot throughout the 9-year existence of PNIA. We developed, pursued, and learned from various advocacies, programs, and initiatives that we initiated. Consistent with our values to behave with inclusivity and mutual respect, we have always involved our stakeholders at the national and local level. We have implemented numerous IEC programs. We have ambitiously hosted a business forum that directed the attention of the international nickel trade market to the Philippines. We continue to be among the first responders to aid communities during disasters, and we continue to look for ways to elevate the positive impact of our collective efforts. Our partners and stakeholders are part of the process in every step of the way. Their guidance helps us become better as an industry, and their trust inspires us to raise the bar higher. All of this experience led to where we are now. We are embarking on a new journey that is ambitious and daunting in scale, but will result to a deeper and more meaningful sense of fulfillment in our role as stewards of the earth. Today, we start our journey in sustainable development, guided by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. As in any start of a journey, we don't have all the answers to questions now. We are in the process of learning, but we know that we are in the right place, doing things at the right time towards the right direction. To put into perspective where we are now, it all starts with the policy enshrined in the Republic Act 7942, otherwise known as the Philippine Mining Act of 1995. RA 7942 is the reason for our existence and serves as the industry's Bible. It is often touted as the strictest mining regulation in the world, but PNIA members have consistently shown its faithfulness as proven by our members' compliance record. RA 7942 provides a clear formula that safeguards the protection of society and the environment through its SDMP and EP provisions. The implementation of SDMP and EP brought better understanding of the needs of our community partners. In collaboration with LGU and community leaders, we have delivered beyond compliance by rolling out CSR programs to bridge gaps of the needs of the people and to provide urgent and timely support where we can. PNIA members have also adopted global standards such as ISO certifications and international modalities such as towards sustainable mining to integrate international best practices and superior standards on safety, operations efficiency, and environment protection in our business. This has been our way of life. since we started our mining operations even before the SDGs were adopted. Reviewing where we are now and looking into the future, we have come to realize that we need to critique our own development as an industry and make it more responsive to what the future needs. There are many models for sustainability and sustainable development in the world. However, the rigor, relevance, and reach of the UN SDGs are unmatched, as it has universal influence over governments and non-government organizations, including the private sector across all sectors. The UN said that its predecessor, the 2015 Millennium Development Goals, or the MDGs, have lifted more than 1 billion people out of extreme poverty, made inroads against hunger, enabled more girls to attend school than ever before, and protected our planet. Despite the remarkable gains, inequalities have persisted and progress has been uneven. Thus, the UN said the SDGs will build upon the achievements of the Millennium Development Goals and seek to address unfinished businesses. 17 ambitious goals are the SDG to end poverty and inequality in all forms and dimensions by 2030. It also gives premium to protecting the environment for the welfare of present and future generations. What truly moved us in PNIA is the SDGs challenge that no one should be left behind and that we must reach the furthest behind first. At first glance, mining is an unlikely partner and ally in the promotion of the SDGs. But thankfully, the UN Development Program foresaw the need to redefine the mining industry's role in promoting the SDGs. In a series of instructive articles and papers, the UNDP has recognized how the mining sector can stimulate positive economic activity in low-income areas, which is usually the case, especially here in the Philippines. It also recognized that the sector can play a role in environmental stewardship and social development, all in partnership with its stakeholders. At this point, I now present to you the highlights of PNIA's 2020 Sustainable Development Goals report. The report is entitled Global Goals, Local Actions, Sustainability as Our Way of Life in Nickel Mining. It details the social development and environment protection contributions of PNIA members, as well as remarkable stories and anecdotes from the experience at the community level. The report also presents PNIA's commitments and next steps. We first talked about the SDGs during the 2019 Nickel Initiative Business Forum. To follow through on this matter, we originally planned to launch this report last year. Unfortunately, the pandemic forced us to refocus our energies to help our host communities deal with the health crisis and to adjust our business to the new normal. The pandemic strengthened our resolve that we should be guided by the SDGs in the rollout of our SDMP, EPEP, and CSR programs. This report is our first to elevate the PNIA's commitment to sustainable development and to show our sustainability that is deeply embedded in our way of life. Sustainability in business is doing operations and delivering service in a way that takes into consideration the environment, community, and society. This report helps us understand where we are, which will inform our decision on how we should make our efforts more effective in helping eradicate poverty and inequality, protect the environment, ensure that no one is left behind, and that we are prioritizing those who have the least. As an industry, we have been reporting our SDMP and EPEP as mandated by law. But through this report, we were able to see how these are aligned and have contributed to the SDGs by reporting what we have accomplished now and our ways forward, we are challenging ourselves to continue to evolve, to be better in what we are doing. Since this is our first SDG report and perhaps the first industry report in the country, we learned a lot during the process. Allow me please to point out the scopes and limitations of the report. First, the report only covers data from 2020, which includes compliance reports submitted to regulators as required by law, and other sources such as CSR data and socioeconomic information from local stakeholders. Second, the report only includes performance of PNIA mining companies. Non-mining company affiliates of PNIA are not included in the report as they are not mandated by law to undertake SDMP and EPEP activities. However, we wish to emphasize that they are our critical partners on the ground in the implementation of our social development and environment protection programs. Finally, the report shows how PNIA members' existing programs have contributed to most of the 17 SDGs. Considering, however, that the SDMP and EPEP investments are mandated by law, the number of projects and value of investments naturally gravitated towards three key SDGs. These include SDGs 15, or Life on Land, SDG 1, or No Poverty, and SDG 3, or Good Health and Well-being. In 2020 alone, the report shows that more than 173 projects have been implemented by PNIA members as part of their SDMP, EPEP, and CSR programs. These projects have been found to be aligned with 15 out of 17 SDGs, which gives us a perspective on reach and breadth of these projects. Higher contributions to SDGs 1, 3, and 15 are to be expected because of the requirements under SDMP and EPEP. It is encouraging to note that our projects have also contributed to SDGs number 2, Zero Hunger, 4, Quality Education, 6, Clean Water and Sanitation, and 9, Industry Innovation and Infrastructure. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a spike in the number of projects under SDG 3, Good Health and Well-being, and SDG 4, Quality Education, as PNIA member companies supported pandemic mitigation efforts and adjustment to an online education system. The report was also able to define 2 levels of contribution. First is the direct business contribution. Because of nickel's role in the global supply chain, the industry contributes to the production of old and new technologies that improve the quality of life in the wider world. This includes stainless steel used in food preparation, motor vehicles, and construction industries. Nickel is also used in the production of rechargeable batteries that drives the shift to more sustainable energy use. As such, PNIA contributes to SDGs 7, 8, 9, and 11. Second will be the economic contribution that is felt by the host community beneficiaries and local stakeholders. By providing employment and supporting local suppliers, we are able to contribute economically to the localities where we operate. Our tax payments to the government contribute to national budgets that fund public services, and projects are also geared toward sustaining or attaining the SDGs. Overall, these economic contributions have relevance across 12 SDGs. The attainment of all SDGs are important, and PNIA's 2020 SDG report shows that we have contributed and established footprint in more than 15 SDGs. However, PNIA members have agreed that there are 3 SDGs that are critical to us mining companies to mitigate risk resulting from our operations and to ensure that our host communities are economically sustainable and self-reliant. These 3 include SDGs 15, Life on Land, 1, No Poverty, and 3, Good Health and Well-being. In 2020, PNIA members have allocated more than 531.7 million pesos to environment protection and enhancement program, a huge portion of which was used to progressively rehabilitate mined-out areas. More than 166.8 million pesos were allocated through social development and management program that funded initiatives on livelihood assistance, education and scholarships, health, socio-cultural, social services, and public infrastructure. Finally, as the pandemic raised the importance of health and well-being, more than 30% of the SDMP were channeled to support local government efforts to mitigate the risks arising from the pandemic. SDMP programs and initiatives have allowed us to provide livelihood assistance to farmers and fishermen, to fund capacity building programs, and to conduct trainings that improves local livelihood infrastructures. Contributions were also noted in education that benefited more than 1,000 scholars and 70 teachers. Socio-cultural and development programs were also implemented to lift those who need it the most, such as indigenous peoples communities and sectors with special needs such as senior citizens, PWDs, and indigents. Infrastructure support were also noted to have long-term and far-reaching socioeconomic benefits to the community. These projects include establishment of water systems, construction of farm-to-market roads and bridges, and establishment of multi-purpose facilities, community pathways, streets, public lighting, and the likes. Overall, these projects have been noted for its direct and indirect role in raising the community's ability to gainfully participate in economic activities, thereby helping reduce incidents of poverty in the area. Further, while these projects are directly contributory to SDG 1, these have been found to also contribute to SDGs number 2, no hunger, and 4, quality education. SDG 3 has become an important marker for PNIA, considering the pandemic has caused unprecedented health and economic crisis. The Mines and Geosciences Bureau responded by mandating mining companies to redirect 30% of the SDMP fund to COVID-19 efforts. PNIA has generated a total of 49 million pesos out of the redirected funds for SDMP to help host communities and to support the local and national government's pandemic response program. This again establishes the unique role of mining companies as first responders in times of crisis to augment the capabilities and resources of government and attend to essential needs of the people. These were used to provide food packs to vulnerable families, including IP communities, distribution of hygiene supplies and essential health diagnostics equipment, and creation of pandemic facilities such as isolation rooms and testing centers. PNIA members also reported not losing any of the employees during the pandemic, as it managed to remain operational. As such, the implementation of health and hygiene programs were also intensified in the workplace, plus provision for essential assistance to the families of our employees. Finally, the 2020 SDG report provides further validation to how much PNIA members have given utmost attention and prioritization to environment protection. This has resulted to more than 895,000 trees planted in 2020. This is part of the more than 7 million trees that have been planted since we started the progressive rehabilitation of mined-out areas. Further, more than 377,000 mangroves have been planted, and more than 22 river and coastal cleanups were conducted in 2020 alone. These numbers and efforts are just the beginning of what PNIA members commit to do to restore the natural ecosystem of disturbed areas. These are just some of the highlights contained in the report. Some of you who are following our journey and progress may be familiar with the outcomes and numbers that I have shared. The difference now is that we are assessing these projects and investment, not just from a compliance standpoint, but from the lens of set targets under the Sustainable Development Goals. In summary, while all SDGs are important, PNIA will prioritize SDGs 15, Life on Land, SDG 1, No Poverty, SDG 3, Good Health and Well-being. These SDGs are most prioritized as these are the areas where mining has the most impact on the environment and the communities. Since the SDGs are not mutually exclusive, we have mapped out how our efforts have direct and indirect contributions across 15 SDGs, and we hope to understand this better so we can improve and enhance our strategies and programs moving forward. As miners, we have profound understanding that it is our duty and accountability to rehabilitate disturbed areas and promote a healthy ecosystem. PNIA members are doing so by employing professionals and experts to guide us in reforestation efforts and use science-based and technically advanced methods that will result to the best outcomes. PNIA members also remain steadfast in fulfilling its commitment to its host communities, including indigenous peoples. The goal is not just to provide for their current needs, but to ensure that these communities will remain sustainable, resilient, and progressive after the end of mine life. Guided by the SDG targets, PNIA hopes to improve its SDMP programs in ways that will end poverty in all its forms and dimensions in our respective host communities. We hope to realize this in the future in close collaboration and synergy with all our stakeholders at the national and local level. I invite you all to visit our website where you can download a copy of the SDG report. It provides more details and elaborations on the data and information that I have just shared today. Also, we would greatly appreciate if you can give us your feedback, thoughts, suggestions, and comments on the SDG report. Please email info@pnia.org.ph. Our journey moving forward will greatly benefit from the collective wisdom of everyone in this assembly. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Maraming salamat pong muli at mabuhay tayong lahat.